We will never produce enough doctors to cover 650,000 villages, period. So we must bet on bringing AI and technology to fill the vacuum.
And now with that, I'm going to invite somebody who is truly phenomenal. He's already a kind of AI, because in the life of India, he has managed to create this kind of meta brain, meta infrastructure, meta networks. He is the Chief Architect of Aadhaar, India's DPI, India Stack, the Beacon Protocol, UPI, there's what we are doing in the health sector, Diksha, education, learning, every kind of field that you can think of. He is the person who's architecting how AI can come into India, not in a way which displaces human, but truly enhances our collective life as a society and human beings. It's a different cultural mindset, it's a different set of values, and I think it is really something that India can offer to the world, to talk to us about that vision and the practice of bringing population-scale solutions to really the big, wicked problems. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Pramod Varma. Pramod, I don't know if you joined us from early in the morning, but we've been hearing this real sort of kaleidoscopic versions of the new era of AI and everything else. But we have you are at the nerve center of bringing this very powerful technology into India. And it's interesting that right now, when the budget was announced, the Economic Survey of India actually highlighted and flagged both the anxiety and the inevitability of AI coming into India, but the extreme labor displacement that there might be, that we are at 2,500 per capita economy, the true dangers of bringing this technology here. But you're at the nerve center of it with a whole different mindset. So first of all, talk to us about that mental model with which you're bringing AI into India, and adapting AI for India.
Yeah, thank you for hosting me, and lovely to be here. I know I'm between your gut and, the talk, so hopefully we'll, keep it short. I think India is looking at a very different problem statement. I think we sort of missed the manufacturing, missed the industrial era, because we got the independence and we were still putting ourselves together. But I think there is a new way that technology can actually bring equity in the society. So we were reimagining the possibilities as we built the first decade of it, which is what we are gone through just now, is bringing 1 billion people into the formal economy. They didn't even exist. So questions like, who are you? It's not like a philosophical question. It's not an AI question. It's sheer existential question in the society. And with Aadhaar and UPI and DigiLocker and the unification of tax systems, road transport system, and of course now education, healthcare, and agriculture that we are addressing. Much of that effort is actually towards inclusion and formalization of 1 billion people to have the opportunity. Now, will they do well? What happens to them subsequently is a larger question we all must ponder. But I think lack of access was an impediment for 1 billion people to participate. I think India's very successfully did that. I mean, now it's success on UPI or Aadhaar, just crazy stories. And but when it comes to AI, it creates much larger questions. One, of course, can AI be used for enhancing healthcare, enhancing sheer just process efficiency? Can you improve process efficiency, keep compliance cost or cost of transactions low? Sure. I mean, it's obvious that AI or any tooling, technology can be used in that sense to better education. We are actually working right now for 40% Indian children can't read a paragraph and comprehend, and 60% of them actually, if beyond a paragraph, they can't comprehend. My daughter is a school teacher, and she's horrified. Right in Bangalore, I mean, big cities, that most of the children in the class can't comprehend a paragraph. And so we are leaving a very, very large section of the society behind, way behind. And so can AI be used to bring societal upgrade, better healthcare, better education, better opportunities, better way of living, better sanitation, and everything else? Sure, I think that's our focus. Much of our focus has been to bring what can AI be used at a societal scale to create the basic fabric of society to be stable.
Okay.
Without that stability, none of this really matter. I mean, either rich people run away to Dubai or whatever, just it's not going to work. And then larger questions still exist. Yeah, long-term questions of joblessness and all that. And we'll come back to that.
Yeah. I'll also come to the other questions that we had discussed, of the other societal sort of fears, immediate fears around AI. But I just wanted to come to the specific thing of you're trying to also create Bhashini, and Nandan Nilekani, and you have, you're literally partners in, I won't say crime, and sort of elevating India. And Nandan had said that India is going to be the AI use capital of the world in 10 years.
Yeah.
So one is the question of access, and I'll come to that. But the second is also that AI is being designed and trained, and all the parameters are being trained by a small group of people in Silicon Valley, or say in France or UK. So you're trying to create Bhashini, which is to put AI into all Indian languages. One, how successful? And two, do you already have a sense of how sort of maybe just about literate populations could actually, if they get AI in their hands, could leapfrog into a knowledge economy?
Yeah, I think, see, if you look at the human-computer interaction, traditionally has been, pre-smartphone, it was very, very limited to a small set of people who could interact with the computer, with the machine. So the machine interactions has been quite geekish in one sense. The idea of keyboard, idea of programming languages, everything is changing. Like English is a new programming language with AI, right? So everything, the way humans are going to interact with the machines was very specialized. With the advent of smartphone, we already saw that, half a population on Earth can quite comfortably use, because touch is very natural, and use of camera or things like that is very, very natural. I think the interaction paradigm is changing to be much more natural. And India, we absolutely believe that the next paradigm of human interaction is voice.
Is voice.
Voice. Voice in natural language. Neither a cryptic computer language of fill up a complex form. Today, if you want to buy an insurance, you have to fill up a complex form. To fill the complex form, you need to know. I mean, most people don't even know what is that, like a drop down or, fill the text box. What are you supposed to fill? Even we ourselves get confused. I was recently filling a passport renewal form. Yep. And it's not actually obvious. What does this damn field even mean?
I have to share that funny incident with the audience when Pramod and I and my colleague Ritika, we were getting together for a speaker briefing. Here is the tech spine of India, and neither could he operate Zoom and neither could we. You know?
Yeah, yeah. No, do not underestimate the complexity of human-computer interaction. So I think what's happening, if you look at the robotic interaction you had in the first session, it's very clear to us that if the interaction and the interface to the computing world is not natural human language, human expressions, and human voice and touch, if it's not the case, it'll remain an alien interaction, and you will need a
Interface.
pujari in the middle, in the sense like a programmer in the middle, you need a tech person in the middle. That's not how humanity is going to, if you're going to, subsequently you talk about merging with the machine and so on. There's no way we can go there. But very simple case, forget future. Today, 100 million people can deal with English, at 1.4 billion people, 1 billion adults. Maybe you can push 200, 300 million people can identify English words, like common buttons, like add, remove, or the plus sign that I can send some message or whatever, right? Beyond that, it's people don't interact. So this is why Indians are the largest use of WhatsApp users, but the least typed users. Indians type the least because we just forward messages, what do you call, good morning or whatever, right? We just flood the system with multimedia because we can watch, we can respond, and very high chance your driver or maid who is coming home is leaving a voice message rather than a typed message, because it's very unnatural for humans. Now, if next 500, 600 million plus people, we have even more than that. Last 300 million is very hard, but if you take at least the next 500, 600 million to participate in transaction economy, not entertainment economy, they're already there. They can watch Netflix, YouTube, TikTok is banned, so they can't watch it, maybe workarounds. They can't participate in transactions, and that's a really bad thing. We must have the ability for in the next 500 million people to participate in the transactive economy. For that to happen, we must crack the human-computer interaction. That's where the Indian language, AI, voice integration is extremely critical for India, and hence Bhashini.
So, Pramod, in fact, that's such a hopeful vision because really the statistics are crazy. I mean, we have 800 million people using smartphones, and I'm always worried now about statistics you find online because you don't know how true they are, but this is from a government side. So only 52% still have internet access, is a statistic we picked up. So in every case, like you had said, even 1 or 2% in India means 80, 90 million people, so that's a huge number. But do you then feel really hopeful? Because there's still a dichotomy here. I get what you're saying, that, you can leapfrog by removing this interface, the middleman of, a computer mouse, etc., and immediately connect people with just voice. But, at the same time, we have a huge health professional shortage. We have doctor shortage. We have teacher shortage. All this while it's been that, we could educate our society into becoming doctors and nurses and etc. But when AI comes, that's the natural vacuum it's going to fill. Like I said, Elon Musk is banking on a $50 trillion labor market that he wants to people with robots. So in India, this is a very hopeful vision. But do you think it'll end up then displacing people? And, the economic survey said we have to think very deeply about what are we going to do with our people and our society? So what's your thinking on that?
No, so first of all, I think we are a deprived country. In general, abundance is only now we are starting to see at least food, a little bit of abundance. But generally, with $2,500 per capita, like a sub-Saharan country, we have a long way to go. And our productivity is one of the lowest. So my optimism says we can't get worse than where we are. So why not bet? So we must bet on bringing AI and technology to fill the vacuum, as you rightly said. We will never produce enough doctors to cover 650,000 villages, period. We'll never cover that many bank branches. If you look at the banking, and we have the real examples in India. In 2009, we were only 17% of India was banking. One of the least banked nation on earth. In 2009, this is when smartphones already came. Right? Internet was 15 years into commercial internet. But in a decade, banks, even today, we keep saying this, banks never went to villages. Bankers never went to villages. But we managed to get banking to villages. So we must focus on the verbs and not the nouns. We must make sure the banking and healthcare, not necessarily doctors. Because if we wait for doctors to be produced, millions of doctors will never happen. So we will have to create technological gap filling. So, and India is that way going to be blessed. If you really double down on AI and technology, we are going to have a significant gap filling for taking care of the bare minimum essentials, like healthcare, education, and access to knowledge. Access to knowledge and open access to opportunities. Opportunity, knowledge, and you need to have access to them. But your larger question of displacement, yeah, there will be some jobs like software. We are IT professionals. If young software engineers are not losing sleep today, they are missing the point. Okay, so I think because the entire system of how you program, how you build, how you entirely being disrupted faster than we can imagine. So it'll displace to a new set of skills. We have always seen new set of skills coming out, but we will never have enough work. Even half of our young population comes out of agri, we are doomed. So we are in a weird situation. Do we need 50% of India in agri or 40% of India? Actually, no. We don't need it. If you use better agriculture techniques, we can relieve them. But if they come out to the urban, what are they going to do? So I think there is a larger question being asked in the world. It's not in India alone, by the way. When the idea of abundance kick in the future, which we hope happens, abundance kick in, where does the idea of earning, income come from? And this is a very, very critical question. I've been asking all the economists. I can't get an answer globally, saying that, let's say 20, 30 years, abundance is kicking in, not enough work. But we all can do what humans ought to do.
Which is chill.
Maybe. Watch, take care for other people, care for nature, care for your own care for your children, instead of running from pillar to post, trying to earn another 10,000 rupees. Right? So, if abundance comes, the question would be larger question. Does the idea of job and does the idea of earning completely go away? And is there a significant income or wealth disparity that needs to be filled? Which is our work in the next 10 years.
Yes. But there, Pramod, I've been asking this question to a lot of economists, and you actually had the most interesting answer, which is that what is the new economic model? Everybody is talking about this oncoming era, but there is no discussion at all about how to plan for it structurally, And the only idea that I've heard is the universal basic income. Which is and I'm very pro-welfare because we have a very unequal society.
We have no choice.
Yeah, but the idea of universal basic income, and when hyper-capitalists start to back universal basic income, it means that you are preparing for a structurally unequal society, And it means that $25 trillion that Elon Musk is talking about will only be with him, and it's not going to be spread out over the rest of humanity. So what's the new economic model? And there you had a very interesting idea about the finternet, so do share that with the audience, because it seems a breakthrough idea. Yeah. And I don't know how plausible it is, but let's seed it here.
It's worth trying, right? I mean, we can't just sit idle. We have to try new models. But I think the real question has been, if you copy-paste the industrial era notion to the intelligence era, we will have 10 people company. And that's a prediction, right? 10 people company can be a billion-dollar company. So you can create billion-dollar companies with very few human beings. You can have a 1 million square foot warehouse with a man and a dog, as they say.
As you have deep factory.
Not to look after the factory, just to hang around outside
Yeah.
and a dog to give the company to
No,
the man.
you have the dark factories in China now,
It's
where
already
they
happening.
don't even put on the lights because it's just robots.
So, these companies could really be large companies where the wealth is very, very concentrated. Everybody is expected to be a consumer, as the current model says, right? Most of us are consumers to something else. The only known model to this, only known model, is to tax the rich. Government will collect more tax and try to spread the tax through freebies. My mind, it's unsustainable, extreme socialistic, unincentive aligned model.
Yeah, and it's not just socialistic.
Now, there will be a long tail. There needs to be protected in every society. But you can't have 70% of the society just getting freebies because there's no other work to do.
Yeah, but I'm going to come back to, I mean, let's just pursue that for a moment. I have a deeper worry about that, which is that, you know, we are constructing a society where you get to use everybody's data and make companies which are hyper-concentrated in terms of wealth and information. And then you discuss a universal basic income. I don't know what the parameters are. Are you going to give us $1,000? Are you going to give us $10,000? But more than that, you're taking away human agency, right? And it's becoming like you're on dole, whereas structurally we are creating a society, and that's why I was asking earlier, why do we need these technologies, or can we and you can't turn back technology, but it's a deeper question, you know? And that's why I'm again pushing you to, are you not wanting to share your idea here?
No.
Because
So,
the new economic model is
Yeah.
one where everybody participates and we recognize that we are part of the wealth chain.
Yeah.
And the economic survey also said one other thing, which you just said, that we're all supposed to be consumers. But if this inequity keeps growing, then who's going to consume? So let's
Yeah.
even look at it as a selfish way. Who's going to consume if you're only going to get the welfare
everybody
state?
must all large companies also must worry about this, because if you are expected to produce product with 10 people, then somebody else has to consume, and where does the consumer get the money from? Very simple questions, right? I think our opportunity here is to shift from a consumer spend income, you earn income, you spend, consume, to a very, very large scale, fractionalized equity model. I think that's possible. So you could be looking at really everyone having an upside on a large company in a fractionalized manner. In today's world, it doesn't allow, because capital market norms, public company norms make it a little hard to have at that scale for private companies especially. But we could be looking at that model where in the future, you are invested as an owner, fractional owner, into companies, and that drives your income. So you are never earning, you are actually part of the ownership structure. Very deep ownership structure through the society. And that would be a good way to actually get an upside on the wealth. So for example, if PhonePe becomes multi-billionaire star, their consumers also get an upside in part of that. Think of the loyalty points on steroids. That's what I want to think about with actual fractionalized equity, which is what we are actually trying to do with the effort called the Finternet, the tokenization of every form of asset, including your own data, including your own footprints. Everything can be fractionalized and tokenized.
I think that's a very powerful idea, Pramod. I don't know, again, I would have expected a clap from that, except this is a hall full of entrepreneurs who are wondering if you have to share your wealth now. But Pramod's idea is also that, our data has been used to train OpenAI's ChatGPT. And we love ChatGPT, and we love Midjourney, and all the images you're seeing here, we have used AI. So we're totally enjoying that. But at the same time, all our brains have gone into making these models. And we have not profited from it except being able to create this. So your idea now is that any company that you're a user of and that uses your data, you're going to be a part fractional owner of that company.
All the data.
So it's not that you're on dole, you are participating in that wealth creation.
Yeah, so again, your digital footprints, your data, whether it's digital assets or even real world assets, you know, the stuff that you own, like property, vehicles, or any of that, you could actually fractionalize, tokenize it, and actually make it tradable in one sense, which has a higher potential of converting. And this is across agriculture, manufacturing. So this is a global effort that actually we are doing, driving this effort.
Is there any buy-in on it from people?
Huge buy-in across. Now, today, by the way, it's not new to entrepreneurs. Today, 1995, Infosys did ESOP. So it's not that you don't spread the wealth through employee stock option. Now, if the E becomes ecosystem stock option, you know, it's not so bad. So whether you give one stock or a 0.01 stock to your consumer, it's how you would imagine you want to drive your company. But wealth distribution has been there. Today we distribute wealth to your employees, partners. You can imagine that you're extending that wealth distribution to society without necessarily being a public company, publicly traded company. You can actually still allow that to happen. But today technologies are way too costly, and compliance is way too costly. So Finternet reimagines that possibility globally at one shot.
I think it's a very powerful idea. It's the first time, like you, I've been asking a lot of economists, and everyone says, oh, we've got to increase manufacturing. And I say, well, the planet's not going to allow that, and markets are not absorbing that much production. You can't be another China. But this, to me at least, seems a really new idea, and it was very exciting. Last question, Pramod. Last year we had Sharad Sharma here, and again another friend of yours.
Sharad is here, I think, in the audience somewhere.
Yes,
yeah.
and he made a very important point, which is that India does have something to offer the world, which is an idea of value-based technologies.
Yes.
And that's why I was asking you earlier about the mental model. That as you are going around creating these technological structures, what's the philosophical vision, and what is that value-based idea that India can transmit to the rest of the world?
It's actually what we have shown in the last 10 years, and we continue to build some of that, is if the societal development, economic development, pure economic development, if it is not equitable, we will have a war in our hands. Not from outside, from inside. Society rising up to just literally coming after the wealth disparity, opportunity disparity. So we have no choice. India has no choice but to ensure that we create equity in the society for opportunity. Now, whether somebody will do better, somebody will do, that's okay. It's not equality problem, it's equity problem. So we are able to actually provide that, and technology is such a powerful lever, which is what we found. From 17% people being banked in 2010, when we launched Aadhaar, to near universal banking, 500 million people doing digital payments compared to 50 in 2016. So, 10x growth. And I think technology is a very powerful lever for India to be able to bring some sort of leveling, opportunity leveling. Access to capital, access to opportunities, and so on. So providing that requires technological investment. That investment it has to be a public good, which is what India showed. India showed to the world that we can repeatedly build digital public infrastructure like UPI and account aggregator, now ONDC, and so on. That just brings the level of participation and opportunity not to limit it to 10% of the society, but probably 60, 70. After that, it gets hard, but 60, 70, you see, you push the boundary, and there's no way world can ignore this model.
On that hopeful note, we're going to break for lunch. Thank you very much, Pramod. I wanted to share with the audience
Thank you for the opportunity.
that Pramod, correct me if I'm wrong, is also the grandson of Raja Ravi Varma.
Yeah.
So you know that there's an art and humanities background to this technology, which we really need. And one fear I have is that maybe there'll be no uprising because we have a mobile narcotification of our society. We are all inside our screens.
Yeah.
And, that's enough, it seems, to be human. But on your hopeful note, we'll break for lunch. Please do go to the two plazas for lunch, and we'll see you back at 2:35. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
Thanks
Pramod.
for having me.